The early stages of the incremental approach resolve the majority of antisocial behaviour cases quickly and quietly. However, in a small number of cases we will have to take legal action. This section of the DVD looks at what happens if your case reaches a level requiring legal intervention and taking your complaint to court.
There are two main legal interventions that we can use. These are the higher level interventions and they form at the top of our incremental approach. These interventions are only used in a very few antisocial behaviour cases, and the point to stress is that in the majority of antisocial behaviour cases we will not be looking at injunctions and we will not be looking at antisocial behaviour orders. We will have resolved your complaint long before we ever need to get to these legal interventions. In, however, a very small amount of cases, we do have to look at legal interventions. The two main ones that we look at are the antisocial behaviour order, known as the ASBO, and also the antisocial behaviour injunction, which is known as an ASB. A little bit complicated, I know, but essentially both legal interventions, the ASBO and the ASB, are doing the same thing. They are an instruction from the courts to the perpetrator as to a set of conduct of what they are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. If either of those orders are broken, either the ASB or the ASBO, they are punishable by prison sentences.
In terms of evidence to support legal proceedings, in particular antisocial behaviour orders and antisocial behaviour injunctions, the courts will need to be satisfied that members of the public have been caused some level of harassment, alarm and distress. And the way in which we're able to satisfy the courts that that has occurred is by providing witness testimony to that effect. Now, where possible, if witnesses feel able to come forward and are prepared to enter the courts and take the witness stand, that evidence is always best for us. If a member of the public can tell the judge directly how they've been affected by the antisocial behaviour that's been perpetrated against them, then that evidence is always going to have the greatest value. But on occasions when members of the public don't feel able to come forward, they're either nervous about appearing in court or are afraid that the perpetrator will find out their identity, then we can still introduce that evidence, but we can use a professional witness to take that evidence into court on behalf of the complainant. So the message really is, even if you're not prepared to go to court, it's still important that you share what's happened with you, with the housing officer, with the local authorities community safety team or with the police, because there are ways in which that evidence can be introduced to court without their identity being disclosed.